Okay, now what I'll be sharing is already being seen by you in my research, in my lecture notes on research design. Okay, you have already actually seen this framework, and if you have really understood the framework, I think it should help you a lot in developing your theoretical framework. Okay, all right, now let's go through again. It's just a revision. Okay, so this is the research questions and research objectives. Okay, the research question number 1: what is the user rating of the service quality of the library at Puncak Perdana? And then the research objective, I've already said you have to paraphrase. So just paraphrase that research questions to become research objective to identify the user rating of the service quality of the library at Puncak Perdana. So that will be your research objective. Research questions number 2, you can see, does perceived service quality of the library at Puncak Perdana influence overall user satisfaction? Okay, then the research objective would be to examine the influence of perceived service. I did not put the word quality. Maybe I should put now. A perceived service quality of the library at Puncak Perdana on overall user satisfaction. Okay, so when you have got 2 research questions, then you should have 2 research objectives. Which one should come first? Is it RO or RQ? That doesn't matter. Like in my style, I normally write the RQ first, research question, followed by research objective. Okay, this is the framework which you have already seen. All right. So there are independent variable, perceived service quality, and dependent variable, user satisfaction. Okay. Naim, can you hear me, Naim? Naim from Bangladesh, can you hear me, Naim?
Yes, doctor. Yes, doctor.
Okay. You can see, tell me, okay, what is this variable, perceived service quality? Is it first order or second order?
This is first order.
First order?
Yes.
Wrong. The answer is second order or concept. So this is a concept.
Oh, yes,
Okay,
yes.
what do we call this? What do we call these variables? What do we call this? Tangibles, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, empathy. Naim, what do we call them?
Uh,
What do we call them?
this is the variable. Uh,
At this
sorry,
time,
sorry.
at this time, you still have not understood it. So that is a very critical and dangerous situation. So these are called dimension. Okay, tangible, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, empathy. These are called dimension of this. Okay, dimension of this. Okay. Can you still see my my slide?
Yes, Prof.
Yes.
Yeah, I cannot open in full because I noticed some of you are having trouble with the connection, and then some of you had to leave, and then you request to join or to admit into. So I need to respond to that request. Okay, so I have to open not in full but partially. Now you see. Okay, so all right. So just now, how many RQ, how many RO? Remember, 2 RQ, right? And 2 RO. Okay. So now we compare, we do the mapping between RQ and RO. So the first one, we say, what is the user rating of the service quality of the library at Puncak Perdana? So we are looking at this variable only. So this RQ1 or RO1 is only focusing on perceived service quality, only focusing on this. So to be more precise, it is looking at descriptive analysis. So if you remember when we talk about research design, okay, in my lecture, I talked to you that there are 3 types of research purpose. One is called exploratory. Number 2 is called descriptive. And then number 3 is called explanatory. Explanatory. So here, this one is called descriptive. RQ1, RO1 is descriptive. Okay, what do we mean by descriptive? Later on, you are going to use descriptive statistics to describe this variable. So you are going to use descriptive statistics to answer the research questions and to accomplish this research objective. Okay, that's the meaning. Okay, that's the meaning of descriptive research. Now, you look at research question number 2. Does perceived service quality of the library at Puncak Perdana influence overall user satisfaction? And the research objective to examine the influence of the perceived service quality of the library at Puncak Perdana on overall user satisfaction. So if you look at this RQ2 or RO2 and you compare against this framework, these RQ1 and RO, sorry, I made a mistake. This is RO2, RO1 is referring to this arrow. Is referring to this arrow. Okay. So why is it this not covered? Okay, it is already covered. Covered where? Covered in the relationship. You are not looking at this descriptively. Okay, you are not looking at this user satisfaction descriptively. Excuse me, can you all see my my mouse cursor when I make the movement? Can you all see? Anyone?
Yes, Prof.
You can see the mouse cursor movement?
Yes.
Can?
Yes,
Okay,
can.
good. All right, okay. So, if you look at this RQ1, RO1, RQ2 or RO2, here, you don't see, we are not focusing user satisfaction directly. But, is it being covered? Yes, it is being covered through these linkages, through this arrow, through this relationship. Okay, so this is where we are going to use what we call inferential statistic. Okay, I've been telling you a couple of times that in statistics we have got 2 types. One is called descriptive and the other one is called inferential. Descriptive and inferential. So descriptive is this one. We are going to describe this variable. Inferential is this one. We are going to look into relationship. When we talk about inferential, is either you look at relationship or you look at difference. But normally for survey research, you are looking at relationship. If you are doing experimental design, you are looking at differences. So in this case, since we are using survey, so we are looking at relationship. So we are looking at relationship. So the specific statistical test that you are going to use is regression and also correlation. Okay, so this is addressing RQ1 or RO1, whereas this arrow is addressing RQ2 or RO2. Okay, so remember I told you that every variable need to be operationally defined. I have given sample in my pre-test form that I sent in the WhatsApp group and also in the island. I hope you also go through that sample of pre-test form. Okay, so each variable need to be operationally defined. So here you have to define this variable. All these variable need to be defined. Okay, how do you define perceived service quality? So you can define it as a combination of these dimensions: tangible, reliability, responsiveness, assurance, and empathy. Okay, so we are going to look at each and every of these. This is the definition. Okay, tangibles refer to physical facility, equipment, staff appearance. Okay, I didn't put the whole complete sentence. I just take the gist of the definition because it will take or consume a lot of space. Responsiveness, willingness to help and respond to customer need. Assurance, ability of staff to inspire confidence and trust. Empathy, the extent to which caring, individualized service is given. satisfaction, customer are pleased with the overall service quality of the library. So these are the operational definition. Okay, now you have developed the RQ, RO, you have developed the framework, you have defined operationally. Next step is to develop the instrument or the measurement, or a more understandable word would be the questionnaire. Okay, you have to develop the measurement. This is what I meant, you know, many times when you send to me your proposed framework, I ask you, how are you going to measure? This is the point that I want to highlight. How are you going to measure? My concern is, some of you put example, sorry if I offend anybody. Okay, some of you put the variable here, example, they put here Facebook. Put here Facebook. Okay, or put here Twitter, put here YouTube. So how are you going to measure that? You cannot easily measure. First, you have to define. Okay, define, I think no issue. Facebook is a social networking site where people can communicate with many people. Example, you can define easily, but the problem, how are you going to measure? Okay, so Facebook is not variable. If you say Facebook usage, yes, that is a variable, because usage, you measure usage. You're not measuring Facebook, you are measuring usage of Facebook. Okay, that one can. All right. So you have already defined operationally. The next step is to do the measurement. Okay, so here, okay, look here, tangible. Okay, I am using 4 items. 1, 2, 3, 4 items. And these 4 items, I use this, what you call Likert Scale. Okay, yesterday in my video, I talk about 4 different types of developing questions. So this is the third one. Okay, the third one. I talk about we have got continuum and the categorical, and then you have got rating. Okay, so this is the third one. Okay, that's why I asked you to watch the video yesterday. Okay, so we are using Likert Scale with this anchoring. This is called anchoring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so some of you, I already approved your framework. Now you have to think, how are you going to create this item? And I said, these items, these are called items. These are called items. These items, you should not be developing on your own. You should adopt and adapt. In this case, I have already taken from the work of Parasuraman. Parasuraman is the creator of this model. Okay, so he created this IV. So I took his item, I took his instrument, but his work is for hotel. His work, service quality, is for hotel. So now I adapt to become library. So anything to do with the word hotel, I change to the library. The library. The original one is the hotel has a modern looking equipment. So I changed to the library. So this is what I meant by customization, adaptation to suit the need of your study. Something that is almost similar to your work. Example, you are studying a library and you can find an instrument in the library context. Okay, let it be. That will be better instead of taking in a different context. Okay, so like here, I'm using 4 items, and I already mentioned in my research design lecture that the minimum number of items should be 2. Minimum number of items should be 2. Here I am using 4. So now some of you, your framework I approve. Now you have to think, can you develop, okay, now, okay, what's the ideal? I said ideal 5 or 6. Okay, 4 is quite acceptable. Minimum 2, but don't go for 2, because if you go for 2, that is very dangerous. Later on, I will show to you, if you use 2, now let's say you use 2 items, in case 1 item is dropped, then you are left with 1 only. 1 item. 1 item you cannot measure reliability. Okay, so in research, whatever research that you do adopting whatever methodology, you can be using case study methodology. You can be using grounded theory methodology. You can be using ethnography methodology, or you can even use experimental design methodology. Doesn't matter, whatever methodology, in whatever research that you do, two aspects of research need to be addressed. Number one is called validity. Number two is called reliability. So pre-test of a questionnaire is to address validity. Pilot test is to address reliability. Okay, so if you use 2 items only, when you do pilot test, say 1 item is dropped, you are left with 1. Then 1 you cannot measure reliability. So when you cannot measure reliability, that means your research output, your research finding is useless, meaningless. It doesn't help. Okay, so I hope you understand. Here I am using 4 items, okay, to measure tangible. Okay, next slide. Okay, here reliability, I'm using 5 items. Okay, you see 5 items. Next one, responsiveness, 4 items. Okay, 4 items. Likert scale, 1 strongly disagree. This is not the only choice. Okay, if you have watched my video yesterday, I said depends on how are you going to measure. If you measure opinion, then you use this Likert scale, strongly agree, disagree. If you measure frequency, then you should use the word very rare, sometimes, always. Okay, so it depends on what you are measuring. Is it opinion? Like in this case, this is opinion, perception, opinion. So you use strongly agree. Okay, but this is not the only choice. Okay, okay, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are called anchoring of the Likert scale. Okay, and if you have watched my video also, I did mention between forced choice and also non-forced choice. Forced choice means you use even number of anchoring. Even means you use 2, you cannot use 2, you cannot use 1, 2, because if you use 1, 2, it's no longer called Likert scale. That will become nominal. So minimum is 3. Here I'm using 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minimum is 3. Okay. Now 5 is the most frequently used by researchers. 5 number. Now if you use 5, you have got 3. 3 is undecided. That means you are on the fence, atas pagar. You are neither agree nor disagree. So you are giving option for those who don't really commit to either agree or to disagree. So you give the middle option 3. Now anything greater than 3, that means it is agree. Anything less than 3, that means disagree. So if you use even, let's say you use 1, 2, 3, 4 only, that is going to be even. Or if you use 6, that is going to be even. Or you're going to use 8, that is going to be even. So when you use even, this is what we call forced choice. Forced choice, that means you paksa, you force the person, the respondent, to either agree or disagree. Now, can we use forced choice? Can. How do you decide? Through your pre-test and pilot test. Okay, through your pre-test and pilot test. Normally, when you develop questionnaire at the initial stage, you use odd number, 5, 7, okay? Odd number first. And then, you look at the responses when you do your pilot test, you collect data from 30 people, or I already mentioned in my video. Now, if majority of the respondent tick the middle value, that means if you're using 5, they tick 3. Majority of them are ticking 3, undecided. That means there is a need for you to use forced choice. That means you have to change. In your actual study, instead of using 5, you should be using 6. That's the situation or scenario where you should be using forced choice. Okay, there's a book author called Zygmunt, Business Research Method. So according to him, Asian respondent, people like you, like me, most of the time tend to be responding to the middle value. Okay, that is based on his observation, not necessarily correct. Okay, that's responsiveness. Okay, and then assurance, I'm using 4 items, and then sorry, empathy, I'm using 4 items, assurance 4 items, empathy 5 items, sorry, empathy 5 items, and lastly, user satisfaction, I'm using 4 items. Okay, this is another thing. Some of you sent to me the framework, okay, without realizing that the DV also must be measured. You must also create items. These are called items for the DV. Some of you thought that the DV will be automatically derived from the IV. Just because you see arrow pointing to this DV, so you thought by collecting data from the IV, you can generate the data for the DV. No, cannot. Even the DV also, you have to also collect. You are going to measure this, the relationship. Or you are going to measure this descriptive, or you're going to measure this descriptive. Like in this case, you are not going to concern about descriptive of this. You are going to concern about this descriptive and this inferential. Okay. So far, are you all clear about this framework, research questions, research objective, and also mapping the instrument items for the framework? Anybody has problem with regard to what I have just discussed?
So far, so good.
Okay, so I think some of you after this will bang your head and say, oh, I think I need to revise my framework, correct? Okay, now actually there are many ways of calculating the content validity, but I have chosen this paper written by Pollitt and Beck in 2006. Okay, most of my PhD students are adopting this approach to do pre-testing. Okay, pre-testing. Okay, so pre-test I've mentioned is to address what? Validity. Pilot test is to address reliability. Okay, reliability. Okay, now listen. For those who are doing PhD, some of you are under my supervision, you have to do both pre-test and pilot test. Now, for those who are doing master's project, okay, next semester, this semester you develop the proposal. Now, you have to do pre-test only. Okay, you don't have to do the pilot test. But if your supervisor next semester insists to do pilot test, then please keep to his or her advice. Okay, I'm not saying pilot test is not important. It is important, but I understand the time constraint. Normally for my student whom I supervise for master's project, I don't ask the students to do pilot tests. I know of some supervisors still insist to do pilot tests. So for my students, I insist them to do pre-test. So for those students doing master's project, okay, next semester you proceed with your master's project, it is compulsory for you to do pre-test. Pre-test is compulsory. Okay, why do you skip pilot test? Because in the actual data also, after you do pre-test, you skip pilot test. So actually the normal process is to do the pre-test and then pilot test and then actual study. So that's the flow. Pre-test, pilot test, actual study. So for PhD, you cannot skip the pilot test. Okay, you have to do. For masters by research, you have to do the pilot test. For those masters project like all of you here, registered to IM 770, okay, you can skip that pilot test, because when we do pilot test, our intention is to measure reliability. Okay, even if you skip pilot test, you proceed to actual study. In the actual study also, again, you have to calculate the reliability. Okay, that's the only difference. But for PhD, you have got no excuse to do. You have to do it. It's compulsory. Okay, so this is the original article. I will share with you in Island later. Okay, or probably I will send in the WhatsApp group. You can read by yourself. But in this article, the author explained the steps. So in my lecture, I will try to translate how these techniques are being applied for calculating the validity of the items or the instrument or the scale. Okay, so you have to prepare this form. Okay, this is what I prepared this morning, and it took me a long time. That's why I could not be on time at 10 a.m. Because I was preparing this, okay, on a PowerPoint slide. So took me quite some time. Okay. Okay, now how do you do this pre-test? Okay, now first you prepare the questionnaire, the items. Once the questionnaire are prepared, then you have to transfer the questionnaire into this form. So this form must be used by experts, okay, experts and prospective respondent. Experts and prospective respondent. Okay, now for your level masters, majority of you are masters project, so you use 3 people enough. You use 3. The minimum is 2, but 2 is very dangerous. The more you have, the better it is. Okay, ideally you use 10, that will be better. So for PhD students, you have to do it. Okay, you have to do it. You have to take like 6 to 10 people. Okay, so you have to divide into 2 groups. The first one will be the experts. Okay, will be the expert. Okay, who will be the expert? Okay, the expert will be the first, will be your supervisor. Your supervisor will be the expert. Okay, try to ask your supervisor next semester to fill up this form. Okay, second one, you get other lecturer to go through. Okay, go through your form and fill up them. The third one will be prospective respondent of your study. Example, let's say you are working in a library, and then your study will involve library user. Then you just pick up randomly any library user, one only, ask him or her to fill up this form. Or if you are studying librarian, then just ask your colleague in the library to fill up the form, okay, to evaluate the validity. Okay, what you need to do, you have to prepare this form. Okay, so put the instruction, like in the questionnaire, you're going to have this instruction. So put the instruction here. Is your instruction all right or not? The expert will comment here. Is that the instruction, is it acceptable? Is it reasonable? Or is it vague? Is it not suitable? So the expert will comment. Okay, of course the space that I have prepared here is not so big because I've got limited space, but the idea here, it means you have to give some space for the author to comment. Okay, if you create a form, you can have a bigger space. Okay, and then the scale use, like in this case I'm using 5. So is it suitable or not? If it is suitable, then probably the expert will say okay, not okay. Maybe he wants you to change to 6. Okay, depends what he will comment. If now let's say he doesn't fill up anything, it means that he or she agree. You can make that assumption. If he doesn't fill up anything, that means she is okay for that. Now, so when you want to evaluate the questionnaire, the expert will evaluate in terms of relevance and also clarity. RC, relevance and clarity. Okay, this is the simplest one. Okay, other technique will have other element that will be looked into. So I am a minimalist. I just choose 2 only. I think this 2 is already sufficient. So we will be looking into relevance and clarity. So for each relevance and clarity, you have got 4 rating. You have got 4 rating, 4 scale. Now this is for, now don't be confused with this. This one, Likert scale, this is for this one, this item, tangible, 4 items, this is the scale. So you want the comment of the expert. Whereas this one is the scale used by the expert on the relevant of this item and also the clarity of this item. So there are 4 not relevant at all. Item I need some revision, relevant but need minor revision, very relevant. Okay, so the expert whom you will be choosing, 3 of them. Okay, each and every one will be receiving separate form. Okay, so 3 people will have 3 separate forms. So they will tick. So they will tick, and if they want to comment, they will write the comment here. Okay. Okay, so you have to provide, here is the operational definition, the variable operational definition. Item, if you are using for, then put all the items here and then prepare the form like this for the expert to evaluate. Okay, any questions so far? Can you understand the form? Can I get some feedback?
Uh,
I
I don't actually understand about. You see, there's 4 there, but on top of it, they have about Likert Scale 5. Oh. Can you explain again why you put 4 instead of 5?
Okay, this Likert scale, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is for this one. This one, for the item. This 1 to 4 is for the expert. Okay, I'm going to highlight this one. Adik, can you go down? I'm having a class now. Please go down and follow Mama. Please.
Mama tadi ya.
Go down, go. Mama's down there. Okay, sorry. How do I highlight?
Go to
Okay, I
design.
can't see. Okay, never mind. Who?
I asked the question just now.
Yeah, I just want to highlight. Yeah, okay, design. I just want to highlight on the box. Okay, who's the one who asked that question?
Me, Razman.
Okay, Razman,
Yeah.
look here. This Likert scale 1 to 5 is for these 4 items.
Okay.
Remember?
Okay.
Remember you look at this. You see? 5 items, right?
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
4 items. This
4
Likert
item,
scale
5.
1 to 5. All right?
Correct.
Yeah, correct. So
Correct.
that is for this one. This one, relevant and clarity, is about this item. Is it relevant? Is it clear? So the expert will evaluate this one.
Okay.
He will evaluate on this one. You understand or not?
Okay.
Okay. So two aspects, relevant and clarity. So now let's say I'm an expert. Now let's say I read this one and then I think it's not relevant. Say I put this one. Let's say I tick here this one. Okay, I tick here. And then I will give my comment here. Okay, what changes need to be made if I am the expert? Okay. Can you all see? Are you all seeing? Where am I? Okay, can you see that? Can you understand? Anybody still do not understand on how to calculate, on how to do that form?
Prof, now
Can I get responses?
Prof, now we only see your face, lah. Cannot see the slide.
Yeah, because somebody is having problem. I have to respond for his request, and then when I click, automatically my presentation gone. I have to again do that. Somebody is having problem with the connection and keep on asking me to admit. Okay, can you see now the slide? Can you all see?
Can.
Can or not?
Yes, Prof.
All right,
Can.
so relevance and clarity. Correct, right? Dayang, Horia, can you see or not? Can you understand, Dayang?
Yes, Prof.
Dayang, can you see?
Yes. Yeah, Dok. Yeah. Yes.
Good. All right. Okay, so the rest also the same. Okay, now this one is for tangible. Okay, this one is for the, what do you call, reliability. Okay, reliability. Okay, this one is for the responsiveness. Okay, this one is for assurance. This one is for empathy. Okay, this one is for the satisfaction, user satisfaction. So all of you can see and understand at this point?
Yes, Prof. Understood.
Yes, doctor.
Good, good. All right. So remember, now for those doing master's project, you need to engage two experts, lecturers, and then one prospective respondent. Prospective means the one who can become your respondent. The one who can become your respondent. That means, you know, depends on what you're going to study. If you're going to study employee, so that particular employee in that organization, he or she will become the prospective respondent. All right. So now the calculation part is a little bit tricky. It's quite difficult to understand, but I will go slowly. Okay. All right. So now look here. Okay, now for PhD, how many do you need? So for PhD, the best you go for 6 or 8, 6 to 10. You go down. I'm fasting. I cannot take. Okay. For PhD, you need to have like minimum 6. Okay. 10 is better. The more number you have, the better it is, because the score that you will get will be dependent upon the number of experts. Okay. All right. So now we are going to measure what we call the, I'm going to show one only. I'm not going to show all because they are more or less the same. Okay, we are going to calculate what we call content validity index. Content validity index. Okay, so here the variable name that I am assessing is tangible. Okay, the aspect that I am looking into relevance. Remember just now we are assessing two aspects. Okay, look at here again. Here one is relevance, the other one is clarity. Okay, one is relevance, the other one is clarity. Okay, now if you look at this table, okay, I'm assessing relevance. So in this example, I'm giving three experts to evaluate the questionnaire. Three experts, okay, three experts. So I call it expert 1, expert 2, expert 3. Now tangible, how many items? 4 items. So I'm going to give a code name 10-1, 10-2, 10-3, 10-4. 4 items. Okay. Now remember just now in this form there are 4 4 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 columns, right? You can see 4 columns. So this is expert 1. For relevance, now he give 10-1, 3. Out of the 4 columns, he give 3. Okay. And then for 10-2, he gives 4. 10-3, he gives 3. 10-4, he gives 4. Okay. For expert 2, 4, 4, 4, 4. Expert 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay. So no issue. All right. Now, look here carefully. 3 or 4 for all items. Now, if you look at this form, we are going to only concern these last 2 columns, 3 and 4. For clarity, also the same, 3 and 4. Meaning to say, only 3 and 4 are considered acceptable and valid. 3 and 4 are considered acceptable and clear. 3 and 4 are considered acceptable and relevant. Only 3 and 4. 1 and 2, not acceptable. Okay, so here, you look here, 3 and 4 for all expert. Look here. This one, expert 1 give 3, expert 2 give 4, expert 3 give 3. Sorry, 4. So 3 and 4 for all expert, yes. 3 and this one 3, 4, 4. Okay, yes. This one 4, 4, 4, yes. This one 2, no. That meaning to say, in this row, you should see only 3 or yes. Sorry, 3 or 4. It's either 3 or 4. If you see 3 or 4 only, so this one will become yes automatically. Then number of agreement 3. Number of agreement 3. And then item CVI that's content validity index, automatically will be 1. So when you see this one, yes, number of agreement depend of your expert. If you have got 3, you put 3. If you have got 10 expert, put 10. So item CVI automatically will be 1. Okay. So far, can you all understand? Can I hear response, please?
Yes, Prof. Understood. Understood.
Okay, good. Okay, now 10, 2 is also the same. Whenever you see 3 or 4, then automatically this one will be yes. Number of agreement, yes, 3. Item CVI, automatically 1. Okay. Actually, how do you get this value? I will show you in the next row. Okay, this one 2. Because this is 2, not 3 or 4, automatically this one no. This one will be yes when any of these or all of these is either 3 or 4. Whenever you see 1 or 2, then this one will become no automatically. You put no there. Okay. So number of agreement 2. Why 2? Only 2% put 3 or 4. 1 person does not put 3 or 4. Put 2. So that's why 2. So how do you get this number? 2 divided by 3. 3 expert. 2 divided by 3 expert. You get 0.67. Understand or not? 2 divided by 3, you get 0.67. Syarul, are you around? Syarul, you faham tak? Bagus. Alright, good. Okay, okay. Let's look at this one. 10, 4. 10, 4, all put 4. 4, 4, 4. So no issue, yes. Number of agreement 3. And then item CVI is 1. Okay, then you are going to calculate mean item content validity index. Mean item content validity index. Okay, so this one, how do you get? You add up all these 4, divide by 4. 1 plus 1 plus 0.67 plus 1. Total up, you divide by 4, you get 0.917. Okay, so this value, this one, must be above 0.9. 0.9. If it is above 0.9, that means your scale is good. Is good. That means it is relevant. Okay, you don't have to change. Now, what happens if the score is poor, is wrong, is weak? So probably you have to remove this item. Okay, this item probably you have to remove or you revise. Okay, you revise, you change, you make necessary changes. Okay, now after you make the changes, do you need to go back to the expert? No need. If you want to go back to the expert, that will be better. Okay, it's up to you. Okay. All right. So PR is actually proportion relevance. This one, how do you get this one? You can see only this one. This one did not surpass 3 or 4. So 3 out of 4. This one 4 out of 4. This one 4 out of 4. Okay, so you get 1. Okay, and then this one, scale S is actually scale content validity index over universal agreement. This one 3. 3, why 3? Because 3 S's divide by 4. Okay, 3 S's divide by total number of questions, you get 0.75. Now, this one also, you should get 0.9. In this case, it is 0.75, not good. So, for validity, you just have to fulfill either one. Either this one or this one. This one or this one. Either or. You don't have to fulfill both. If you fulfill both, it is better. Okay, now, that's why you see, when you have got more items, here I'm using 4. If you have used 10 items, actually, this one will be easier to get 0.9. Easier. Because when you use small number, the distribution will become very wide. That's why one person say no, now you get 0.75, which is not good. Okay? So as long as this one is 0.9, so either or, as long as you fulfill either or, that will be good enough already. Okay, you don't have to fulfill both. Okay, so here I'm only assessing relevant. What about clarity? Is the same thing. Clarity, same thing. Okay, so you calculate. Okay, this one is even worse, 0.5. Because 2 no, 0.5. This one 835. Okay, both are not good. In terms of clarity, not good. So what do you need to do? You have to make changes. Where do you make changes? Okay, you look at this item. Okay, which one has got the lowest value? This one, 10.3. okay, because this one 3 and 4, okay. So this one, oh, I think this one, this is a mistake. I think calculate mistake. So this one you have to make changes. All right. So can you all understand how to do pre-test? Okay. So we have done about doing pre-test. Are you all clear with pre-testing? So a little bit tricky, but once you do it, inshallah, you can understand. Any
Prof,
questions so far with?
Prof, I have questions. What is the use of
Yeah.
PC and PR? The
Okay,
proportion.
PC is actually proportion clarity is this value. It doesn't,
Okay.
it is only an acronym. It doesn't mean anything. Actually, this one, when you take the average, is similar to this. Same. This one, you look at the PC of each individual expert. So this one, it doesn't have any purpose unless if you calculate, you will get the same value as this one.
Okay, understood. Thank you, Prof.
Okay. Any other question? Are you all clear, everyone?
Okay, Prof.
Okay. All right. So we are done with this pre-test. Now we are going to what you call pilot test. Okay, pilot test. Now, in my lecture yesterday that I posted in the YouTube, I said we do pilot test because we want to rehearse on the date on the questionnaire. This one you have not done any rehearsal because it's the expert filling up. So rehearsal must be selected people from the group of sample you choose. So normally minimum 30, and the most I've seen 100. Okay, so the number varies. But minimum, some people say 10 also acceptable, but I don't believe in 10. Even if you use 10, you cannot do strong calculation. Okay, so try to use 30 at least, and try to achieve more than 30 if you can, but that depends on your sample size. Now, let's say if you are going to study about employee in an organization, and the employee has got 100 employee only. Of course, you cannot take 100 sample to do the pilot test, because if you have taken 100, so what left are you going to do in your actual study? Okay, so it's not suitable when you have got limited number to adopt 100 number as your targeted pilot test number to participate in the study. So it all depends, but the ideal and the most widely used number is 30. And if you remember, there is a theorem in statistics we call central limit theorem, which says that anything 30 and above is considered big. That's why when you use 30, that is quite acceptable. All right. So I'm going to close this window and I'm going to show you SPSS. Okay. What is that sound? Somebody is switching on the microphone. Okay, can you see my SPSS window? Please, anyone, please respond. Can you see my window?
Yes,
Yes, I hear.
Can, huh? All right, so in this SPSS, I don't know, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with SPSS, okay? There are so many videos on YouTube. Please spare your time on how to use SPSS. In these 2-3 hours, that's not possible for me to go through from the basic, okay? Inshallah, if I have time, probably I'll do a tutorial video on how to do the data entry and so on, okay? So on SPSS, some of you are already familiar, never mind, it's a revision for you. You can see on the bottom part of the screen, there are two options called data view tab and the other one variable view tab. So the first thing that you have to do is that you have to enter the variable name. Okay, enter the variable name. Like here, I've already created 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, 10.4. Okay, rel1 are all for the other variable. So just now we say tangible. So we have got tangible 1, tangible 2, tangible 3, tangible 4. And then here, the values here you can see 1 strongly disagree, 2 disagree, 3 neutral or uncertain, 4 agree, 5 strongly agree. All right, so this one I use scale. Okay, so if you look at this example in this slide, in this screen, you can see in SPSS there are 3 options: scale, ordinal, nominal. Okay, but what we have learned so far, there are 4: nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. So in SPSL, interval and ratio is being treated as one, and they have redefined that interval and ratio and call it scale. So scale in SPSS is actually referring to combination, or is actually referring to interval and ratio. So here it's a scale. Okay, so I'm using scale. Actually, to be more precise, this one is ordinal. Okay, ordinal. But why I use scale? Because I have to do some calculation later. But if you use ordinal and scale, it doesn't matter. But more precise will be ordinal. But even if you use scale, also no issue, because later on when you do calculation, you are going to convert into scale. All right. So here 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, 10.4, and then this is the data view. So this is where you put the data. Okay. So just here example, respondent number 1. Row 1 means respondent number 1. So the respondent has ticked 4, 4,
Sorry,
3,
Prof, I cannot
3.
see what you are trying to share.
What?
Bro, cannot say anything lah. Just we only notice we can only see your SPSS, but cannot see the thing that you are mentioning now.
Yes,
Oh,
true.
is it this? Okay, okay, okay. Let me. Okay, can you see my file now?
Now can.
Can,
All
Doctor.
right, okay. Why didn't you tell me just now much earlier? I've gone to this stage. Okay, now look at this again. Okay, in SPSS, you have got 2 tabs. Okay, data view, variable view. Data view, variable view. Can you see that? Data view, variable view on the bottom.
Yes, Prof.
Can you see that? Okay. All right. So you have to create the variable here. Just now I already said I use the code name 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, 10.4. This is the code name. Okay, giving name is like a variable. Some of you learn programming. Okay, you have to use simple name, representative, only one word. You can use combination of alphabets and numbers, no issue. You cannot you cannot use 2 words. If you want to use 2 words, then you have to use underscore. Okay, you have to use underscore. So here 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, 10.4. Okay, so this is the label. The label is actually the wording appear in the questionnaire. I don't put it here because I want to do it fast. Okay, and then I don't want to be okay. By right, you should put here lah the label. The label means the items that really appear on the questionnaire. Okay, if you don't understand, let me show you again how. Where is the items? Okay, can you see that? The library has modern looking equipment.
Yes, Prof.
Okay, this is where actually the label, the items that you use in the questionnaire, you put it here. Okay, you put in the label. But if you don't put, doesn't matter as long as you give the unique name. Okay, so make sure the name is quite closely related so that it will easy for you to process. Like tangible, I use short name 10.1 for item number 1, 10.2 item number 2, 10.3 item number 3, 10.4 item number 4. So reliability, I use rel 1, rel 2, rel 3, rel 4, rel 5. Okay, so this is the Likert scale. Under values, the Likert scale. Okay, you see 1 strongly disagree, 2 disagree, 3 neutral, 4 agree, 5 strongly agree. So you have to just put this one, this one, this one, and then this one doesn't matter, doesn't affect so much. These 3 things are important. Okay, so I'm not going to continue with the rest. I hope you can understand. I'll just give one sample. Okay, then data view is where the actual value. Now here I have collected 30 responders. This is the actual pilot test that we did. Okay, the actual pilot test. So the first respondent for tangible put 4, 4, 3, 3. So I put here 4, 4, 3, 3. Okay, so that means question number 1 he ticked 4, question number 2 he ticks 4, question number 3 he ticks 3, undecided, question number 4 he ticked 3, undecided. Okay, or uncertain. Okay, so can you all understand at this stage? Hello?
Understood, Prof.
Okay, good. All right, so now I said just now that pre-test is to measure validity. Pilot test is to measure reliability. So once you have completed your pre-test, you proceed with the pilot test. Okay, but for master's project, you don't have to proceed with pilot test. You straight away go to your actual study. Now, even if you have done your actual study, you still have to measure the reliability. It's the same thing. But for PhD, you still have to do the pilot test. Okay, so even if you proceed right away to the actual study, you still have to calculate the reliability. So here, because this is actual data, pilot test, so 30 responded, that means 30 row. 30 row. Okay, now you can see all values are filled up. That means no missing value. Sometimes respondent didn't fill up, so you leave that cell blank, no value. Doesn't matter. Okay, so you can see here tangible 1, tangible 2, tangible 3, tangible 4. So I'm now going to measure reliability. Okay, so on your SPSS window screen here on top, this is called menu bar. File, edit, view data, transform, analyze, direct marketing, all these are called menu bar. Underneath the menu bar is actually the toolbar. Okay, the toolbar. Okay, it has got different function. Okay, this is not very important lah. If you want to print, if you want to save, or you want to see the actual value like this one is the actual value, but it's very difficult to understand. Okay, so you change to the numbers, easier. Okay, all right, so to measure the reliability, you on your menu bar, you can see menu bar here, you click on analyze, click on analyze, and then you go down, go to scale, go to reliability analysis. Okay, and then you can take these 4 items, 10.1, 10.2, 10.3. Okay, can choose. Okay, you press shift, 4 of them will be blocked, and then you press this button, so all these 4 will be transferred onto this item. All right, then you click on this one, and then you will be shown with this another window. You can see descriptives 4. So you tick this one, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then you click continue, and then you click OK. I have prepared a very complete notes for this workshop. I've done a lot of workshop. You go through that notes. It is very easy, very straightforward, very user-friendly. Even if you don't have any video, you just go through that notes. Very easy. Okay, I will share with you later. Okay, and then you click OK. And then an output window will be shown. Okay, you have got so many boxes. Go to this Chromebook Alpha. So the Chromebook Alpha is 0.624. Okay, 0.624, which is acceptable. Okay, 0.6, acceptable. Can you all see?
Cannot see the pop-up box.
Cannot see.
Cannot see the Chromebook Alpha. Okay,
Yes.
I have to. Wait. That's the difficulty. Okay, can you see now? Can you all see?
Yes, Prof.
Now can see.
Yes.
Now can see, huh? Okay, can you see this reliability analysis? Can you see?
Yes.
0.624. So that is considered acceptable lah. 0.624 considered acceptable. The Cromba alpha is considered acceptable as long as it is above 0.6. Okay, it all depends. So many different author will have different view, but the majority says 0.7. But I've seen a book that says 0.3 is also acceptable if it is totally exploratory. Like Dayang, Dayang, your PhD is very exploratory. Even if you get 0.5, that is also acceptable. But normally people use above 0.5. Okay, 0.5. Okay, 0.6 acceptable. Let me show another one. I'm going to click this one, analyze, and then I'm going to click on scale, reliability analysis. I'm going to reset. Now I'm going to try what do you call responsiveness. Responsiveness is this one, RES1 until RES4. Transfer to the right, click on statistic, click on these three items, 1, 2, 3, click continue, click OK, and then the value will be shown 0.838, okay, which is good. Okay. All right. Now, that's why just now I said minimum is 2. Minimum is 2. Minimum is 2 item. Remember I told you for any given variable, you have to have 2 item minimum. The ideal is 5 to 6 item. Ideal 5 to 6 item. Now, if you use 1, can or not? Now, I'm going to show example. Let's say analyze, scale, reliability. I'm going to reset. So I'm going to just take visit 1 and see. I cannot click OK. I cannot continue because it is only 1 item. So 1 item means not reliable. So if your study use 1 item only, not reliable. In other words, it is useless, not reliable. So the finding is not meaningful, not beneficial. So minimum how many? You have to have 2 items. 2 items. Let's say 2 items. If I take just 10, 1, 10, 2, I put here. 10, 1, 10, 2. Assuming I'm using 2 items only. I click this one. 1, 2, 3. Can you see my window, all of you? Can you see what I'm doing, everyone?
Yes, Prof.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
doctor.
good. You click, and then you can see, this one, 414, 3 items, 414, not good. This is not good. Okay, what happened if it is not good? Okay, then you go to this item, sorry, you go to this, okay, sorry, I think I didn't, I'm going to repeat again. Analyze, scale. Did I tick this one? Okay, scale if item deleted, continue. Okay. Okay, now. This one, 10, 1, 10, 2. I'm using 2 item only. 2 item only. What about 3 item? Analyze. 2 item not good. What about if I use 3 item? Analyze, scale. So now let's say I'm going to use 3 item. Okay. Okay, the Chrome Alpha 384, not good. So if it is not good, what are you going to do? You go to this item total statistics. Item total statistic. Now, item total statistics will suggest what you need to do. So in this item total statistic, it says that now, if you remove 10.1, this one, corrected item, Chromba Alpha if item deleted. If you remove 10.2, Chromba Alpha will become 437. If you remove 10.2, Chromba Alpha will increase from 384 to 437. So we are going to do that. Analyze, scale, reliability analysis. So you remove 10.2. Okay, now 437. Okay, so but now this one still not good. 437. You cannot delete anymore. If you delete another one, you are left with one. You cannot continue. So that's why it's best that you use 5 or 6 items. 5 or 6 items at least. If you remove 5, if you remove 1 or 2 items, you are left with 4. You are still safe. Okay, you are still safe. That means you can still proceed with the analysis. All right. So I think I have done explaining to you the, what do you call, okay, I think I already explained to you how to do the pre-test and also pilot.